Yeah, you know, just gotta pick your spots and let it wear out. And, you know, not every day. I can't. I got 2 kids, third one on the way. Ryan brings home the check and pays the bill. Hello and welcome to another edition of The Average Guys. I'm your host, Johnny D, and with me as always, my co-host, Kenny K.
Johnny?
How you doing, buddy?
Real good.
And somebody's going crazy behind the camera wanting her credit. Crazy Kelly Donahue.
Kelly's in the house.
Kelly's in the house. So anyways, we're down at Players Sports Bar, down on out in West Duluth here on Grand Avenue. So anyway, we got a lot to cover this week. Kenny, where do we even start?
Well, we got some baseball stuff to talk about, a little bit of football stuff. Basketball season's underway, hockey season, high school hockey. They've started their practices. So there's a lot of stuff going on. We'll talk a little horseshoes, horse racing, soccer, and
little bocce ball.
Cover it all.
That's
boxing,
right.
Big boxing match. Let's talk about this coming up Saturday night. The rematch. Lennox.
Hasim Rahman and Lennox Lewis.
I think Rockman's going to do it again. I think he's going to rock Lewis, and I think he's going to win the fight.
You do. I'll take Lennox Lewis.
Be on tape.
Set it up for the third fight. Boxing, I think it's a horrible sport.
You know, I was talking to my boss today, Dave Nelson, and I said, Dave, are you going to watch the fight Saturday night? He said, what fight? I said, the heavyweight fight. Heavyweight fight. He said, who's fighting? He said, who? I said, Rockman and Lennox Lewis. He goes, who's the champion? And I thought, remember the days of boxing when you knew who the boxers were? You knew who the champion was? Man.
I didn't. It's at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas,
Yeah.
but I had no idea that it was this weekend.
Yeah, it kind of snuck up fast on me too, but
I think boxing,
changed.
Next week we're going to be down at Horton's Gym, I think, tentatively.
Oh, really?
And we'll talk to Chuck about just these issues. Boxing restoring some more credibility. The heavyweight rank, it's unappealing to me. I mean, I never heard of Hasim Rahman until he won. Who was he? Where did he come from?
Baltimore,
as we found out afterwards.
Right.
But, I look at Lennox Lewis, 8th round knockout. And you're looking at Rahman.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay. The champ, man.
Okay.
The champ.
That's Kenny's fearless prediction. Kenny.
Yeah.
We got to talk about the Minnesota Vikings here.
We do?
Absolutely. It's football season.
We have to talk about the Minnesota Vikings. Let's see. Where are my notes on the Vikings? Giants will be at the Metrodome Monday night to take on the Vikings after a humiliating loss in Philadelphia. And we've been talking about this Vikings-Twins thing, and I won't go into a lot of depth. Got a call from a good friend of mine on Sunday afternoon while the Vikings were getting taken to the cleaners, and he said, I want you to have me go on record on your program, so Tom Pogorelic of Duluth, let the Vikings go and keep the Twins.
And that was repeated in the sports section.
Jeez, like he said, the Vikings have humiliated us over the years. The Twins have never humiliated the state, ever. Ever.
Even in their worst seasons. God. No, they haven't. I mean, I watched that game against Philly. By halftime, I was outside playing with the kids. I'd look in the deck window and look at the score, and it was never getting closer. It was getting wider apart, and I'm like, the Vikings just don't bring it. I mean, there's no spark. After their humiliating loss down in Tampa Bay, they had the bye week, and I thought maybe I honestly thought they'd go to Philadelphia and win. Well, I didn't think Philadelphia was that good of a team, and I still don't think so.
Prior to that Philly game, Denny Green's record after the bye week was 10-2. Heck of an impressive record. Well, I'm telling you, man, that third loss in that category, it's so humiliating. Johnny, sports fans, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be saying it for the rest of the season. Corey Stringer, Robert Smith, John Randall, gone.
And that's what we said before the year, because you said Corey Stringer is death. People will rally around the bikes. I said, or maybe not.
I was hopeful. I was optimistic, and I still think that has had an effect on this team that has caused them to not have a bad season necessarily, but just lose their focus, maybe not be focused. And let's face it, we don't have a running game. Our running game is gone. We don't have a running game. John Randall is gone. That offensive line is just not performing.
This week's issue of the Sporting News rated Michael Bennett as being one of the biggest disappointments of the draft.
So far.
And I don't know if that's a fair label.
Well, he's a rookie, a first-year player. I don't know if it is a fair label. And then, considering what the Vikings have up front to block for him, maybe that isn't fair.
Well, I just look at it as I think the biggest cancers on that team. I think Dante Culpepper's doing the best job he can.
Yeah.
Game in and game out, he got his nose crushed against the Buccaneers, and he still played through it.
Yeah.
He puts up good numbers week after week, but I think you got Randy Moss and Chris Carter, who's the cancer on that team. They don't run out their patterns. If they're not involved in the plays, Carter, I won't say that, but Moss.
Personally, I wish Chris Carter would have retired.
In hindsight, seeing all this crap going on.
I just don't like this stuff going on. I think that he felt that he could come back and contribute, and this team maybe would have a crack at another Super Bowl, and those hopes were dashed, beginning with the death of Corey Stringer. It's kind of odd, John. The Giants will be at the Metrodome Monday night. Denny Green will present Corey Stringer's number 77 jersey to his widow, Kelsey, and then they'll start the $100 million lawsuit against the team. What the heck, man? That's just crazy.
Well,
it's just
Earl and Gilbert.
Sad.
Earl and Gilbert talk about it on the morning show.
Earl and Gilbert, what's that now?
Chris Earl and John Gilbert.
The reason I say that, I have not listened to that program in a month. I used to listen on a regular basis, and now I just...
And they're talking.
I don't know what it is.
The thing is, does Red McComb owe the Stringer family the $8 million? If you get hurt and you can't play anymore, a lot of that money you don't get. But I think when it's death,
something
under the extenuating circumstances,
well,
you would think that Red would, and I said this on the show, I called up, you think that he would have had enough foresight to say, Kelsey, sit down, we're going to give you the $8 million. These are my financial advisors. He obviously knows how to make money. Collect the interest off that money, take care of her and the kids, because if it's $100 million, Kenny, even with the lawyers involved, they're going to settle for more than $8 million. Lawyers are good at, and I'm not saying that about lawyers, but they're good at getting money. If you get a good one.
Well, it's a $100 million lawsuit. Denny Green's named in the suit, Red McCombs and the Minnesota Vikings.
But OSHA found the Vikings, not guilty of any labor laws.
Well, she's going to get some money out of this.
She's going to get more than $8 million.
Rightfully so. I don't like the timing of this stuff.
But it's got to be an uncomfortable situation Monday night. Sort of typical of the Vikings season.
It's bizarre.
Here's
the jersey and
shake a hand and smile.
Now see you in court.
And the Monday night football crew won't say nothing.
You don't think so?
Do you really bring it up? They're there to promote the sport, not sort of get into the sleaze of it. I thought about that. Will they mention the lawsuit? I really don't think it's Monday night's prerogative.
I don't want to.
Let's make a prediction. I say they don't.
They don't talk about the lawsuit?
Yeah.
I think they mention it.
You think they do? Okay. It'll be interesting. I'll watch it.
I don't think they talk in depth or make any great dialogue.
Okay.
But, there's a $100 million lawsuit, blah, 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 blah. Vikings play the Giants Monday night. I think the Vikings can win this game.
Okay,
Thank goodness they're at home.
I was going to ask you, what's your fearless prediction?
Thank goodness they're at home. Two big, horrible losses on the road. I just hope they can rebound and win this, because after this game, they play Chicago, Pittsburgh, and Tennessee.
Kenny, your season, are the Vikings, are they going to make the playoffs?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
And my Buccaneers, just to briefly touch base, they almost lost to the Lions. My God.
I was at my brother's house. He's got the dish. Watching that game. Almost.
Your season's coming to an end. Not officially, but my team was right along with the Vikings that night, or that afternoon. And
well, like my good friend Timmy Davis says, he goes, Kenny, Denny Green's had a good team ever since he's been here. He's done well every single season. Gotten to the playoffs, hasn't done so well necessarily, but we've had a good team. We've had, something to look forward to come, playoff time. And, we've got a year that we're not going to get to the playoffs, and it's a down year. There's reasons for this, though. This isn't happening because, again, I think the loss of Robert Smith has been the biggest reason the Vikings have.
The Sporting News, was it last week or this week, said that was the biggest off-season move that hurt any team. They had him listed number one, the Vikings losing Robert Smith.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean,
as I think it was called, one of the biggest disappointments of this year. You know, and
well, the Vikings have something to prove Monday night, and let's not forget what happened. You know,
what's the combined scores, Kenny?
Early on this season, this happened this year at 41-0 loss out in New York in the NFC Championship game. If anything, this game is probably their key matchup of the season.
But the Giants have a good defense? Will Culpepper get any rest?
What is Michael Strahan? He's got like 15 sacks.
Does he have that many?
I think he already has like 15. What's the record? 22 in a season?
21? Is that by Gastineau? Yeah. Huh. I just think, it's going to be a dogfight.
A classic hockey fight. What's this? Washington and Philadelphia. What do we got battling? Oh, man. I was at the UMD Bulldog Wisconsin Friday night game.
John Gilbert loved that fight.
And I saw something, folks, I don't think I've ever seen in college hockey. Oh, look at this guy. This guy got who's who here. Rick.
So anyway, who were those combatants?
Toe-to-toe, center ice, former Denfeld Hunter, Jim Rodberg, and whomever for the Wisconsin Badgers. And the referees are standing aside. All the players are on, and they're toe-to-toe, and they're punching one another. I'm like, this is college hockey. You don't see this in college hockey.
Well, John Gilbert said on his show.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It was great.
John Gilbert says on the radio show, he goes, he doesn't condone fighting, but he said it was a classic fight.
It was a classic fight, absolutely, and it's part of the game. Who gets hurt in fights in hockey? I mean, let's face it.
Well, that guy's got one bloody eye there.
Well, yeah, but who gets hurt? He'll be out. You get a couple of butterfly Band-Aids on there, and you'll be a couple of stitches. Nobody gets hurt in hockey fights, I mean, disabled at least. And it's part of the game. You go out there and you tick someone off.
Get a stick to the side of the head.
But college hockey treats fighting properly. They miss the rest of that game and the following game, and that's why it's so curtailed. Hey, I've been going to a lot of college hockey games, and that's the first one I can recall ever seeing like that. I mean, you see them along the boards maybe a little bit, but this was center ice, folks, at the deck.
So, Kenny, what do you think about UMD losing Nick Licari to Wisconsin?
Well, I read some of the articles. John Gilbert spoke very highly of Nick Licari. Mike Randolph, East High School hockey coach, said he's the best all-around player he's ever coached. Okay, you think of some players that he's coached in the past. Dave Spehar comes to mind right away.
And the Wheelers, Lockers.
Yeah. Some of the things Licari said, like, they were expecting him to show up. They didn't really seem to have an interest in him, and Wisconsin, they rolled like the red carpet for him, and it's sad.
I ran into John Gilbert down at the Budgeteer.
Yeah.
I had a good talk with him, and I'm not going to go into what he told me because maybe he doesn't want it known, but I think he's talked about it on his radio show when I have listened to it. But yeah, UMD really underestimated the other schools and what kind of scholarships they're offering. I can say that. And
well, I don't know anything about that. Maybe Scott Sandlin, I mean, let's face it, maybe Scott Sandlin just didn't see in Licari what others saw or thought they saw.
Or scholarship offers, I mean.
But I'll tell you what, after what I saw Friday night at the deck, and then Channel 10 carried the Saturday night game, I watched some of the game. It's time for a new coach. If he's teaching those guys to play hockey that way, God.
Are you serious?
Well, I'm being somewhat
facetious.
Yeah.
Well, they started off good. What did you see Friday night?
Yeah.
Why do you make that statement?
There seems to be a lack of a power offensive attack. I mean, you go back to some of the heydays of the Bulldogs, at least in my time. You got your Billy Watsons, your Matt Christiansens, and
Brett Halls.
Well, yeah,
Moochie Watson.
You know, a Derek Plant, a Chris Marinucci, and even, you know, most recently Peluso. But I just don't see that.
But this is Sadlin's second year, Kenny. He's working with a lot of kids that are his recruits.
I know. They're still in a... You know what is somewhat disappointing is they went down to Omaha and they won that doggone tournament down there. And they beat two highly ranked teams.
And they got rated number 10.
And now and they were ranked nationally, and now they've fallen flat on their face, and they've really embarrassed themselves at home. That sweep against Wisconsin didn't help. And then Mankato State came here and handled them pretty well. Big test this weekend down at Mariucci Arena. They're going to play the number 1 ranked team in the nation, Minnesota Gophers. Yikes. Good luck, guys.
And then somebody called up and...
Hey, the race is on!
The race is on! So anyway...
Boys are having fun at the bar.
So the thing is, somebody called up to say that, hey, no matter what, a local kid up here necessarily doesn't want to play for UMD. They want to wear the M on their chest of the Gophers. Well, and Gilbert disagreed with that, but Nick Angel went down to the Minnesota Gophers.
Right.
And he used to go to the hair salon that I used to cut at.
Okay.
And I knew him when he was 9 years old up until he went to college.
Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as a little kid, you know, you just think, God, the kid's a dreamer. But he was steadfast. I'm going to play hockey. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Look at my Michael Jordan rookie card, you know, stuff like that. But the thing that he always said, I want to play for the Gophers. And then all of a sudden he's in high school, and all of a sudden he's going, yeah, the Gophers are talking to me, and, you know, and
here he is.
He never
fulfilled his dream.
He never considered playing for the Bulldogs. He wanted to play for the Maine U, and there's a lot of prestige going down there to play. And I'm not.
Yeah, that and the fact that, you know, these kids, you know, they grow up in Duluth, they go to high school in Duluth, and then it's time to, you know, spread your wings a little bit.
You want to see the world.
Yeah, you know, you don't want to. I don't say. You know, don't want to say necessarily everybody, but, you know, you want to move away and, you know...
Get away from the parents.
Get away and go have a good time. And, you know, there's that aspect to it. You know, leaving home. You know, some people are able to do that and look at it as a challenge and an exciting time. And some others, you know, don't really give a rip and they want to stay here. Look at Adam Cool. It was really neat. I was at a game, I can't recall what game it was. Anyways, Adam Cool was starting the game, and they announced he was the first player announced. You know, UMD goes to the fanfare where they have the lights off at the deck and spotlights twisting and turning, and starting in goal from Duluth, Minnesota. And I thought, that is so nice to be down there. That's got to be a wonderful feeling for that kid. You know, and the next player comes up, and, you know, they're naming kids from wherever around the, you know, Canada and the rest of the United States. But, you know, to play in your hometown and be the first player called, that's got to be a thrilling thing for him. And
how was the deck crowd? Watching it on TV, I didn't get a feel. But.
Well, again, I was at the Friday night game, and being that the Badgers were in town, you usually get good crowds, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't a capacity crowd. There were some empty seats. I did notice that the Badger fans weren't as vocal as they have been in the past.
Okay.
So
see, I look at in 2 years, Scott Sandlin's going to have this program on the up and up.
Well, I hope so. There was an article in the paper where they talked about a lot of recruits that are coming here. I know you got Miskovich that's going to play here shortly. You got Langenbrenner and a few others that.
Now it's time to do business.
So we lost,
you know, that are going to play here.
But Geyer and Surdich are going to the Maine U, aren't they?
Shame on them, going down there. Jeez.
You know, it'd like to have been nice to get one of them.
Oh man, shame on those guys.
But, I mean, Greenway, that's getting away from home to
go down there and lose a tooth or two.
There you go, brother. Kenny's on a roll. But anyway, so I still say I'm a big support. I think Sandlin dropped the ball with Licari, but I think it's a lesson learned, you know.
I wonder. That's a horrible lesson to have to learn.
I know.
Right now, the Gophers are ranked number 1 in the nation. 1, 2, and 3, the WCHA. Minnesota, Denver, and St. Cloud. Pretty impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see the Wild game last night?
1-0.
Man, oh man, what about minute and a half into the game, Chris Drury scores a goal, and that's the only goal scoring throughout the whole game. John, did you know that in that game, Patrick Waugh recorded his
200th win?
He became the first goaltender ever in the NHL to have 200 wins with two different teams.
Yep.
Of course.
But I did watch that game last night, and okay, it was 1-0, but you got Patrick Waugh in the nets. But I'm telling you, the Wild, I mean, they've lost, I think the Columbus was 5-2, you know. I mean, they've had a couple minor lapses. This team is good.
What team?
The Wild.
The Wild?
I mean, 1-0 to the defending Stanley Cup champs, and Colorado's below Minnesota in the standings, but that's just, they're going to kick it in gear.
Well, they beat Colorado, a couple of weeks ago, the first time they'd ever beaten Colorado.
Yeah.
The thing I like about the Wild this year is the improvements they've made on their power play. Last year, they were dead last in the league at about 9.6% on the power play. Pathetic. Last. What have they done this year? They've added, what's his name? Andrew Brunette and Sergei Zoltak. And they've improved they're the best power play in the league. Not shabby. Not too bad. You know, I don't think you just kick it in gear and improve on 5-on-5. They'll be doing pretty well. Darby Hendrickson, I didn't know he's out. He has like some back spasms, and he had like some kidney stones or something. So he hasn't played much lately. Have you seen this promo on Fox Sports Net with Darby Hendrickson?
No.
It's just that little 10, 15 second thing in between commercials or programs. They show Darby standing there. It's Fox. It's to promote Fox Sports Net, and it shows Darby Hendrickson standing there with a hockey stick. You know, he's got his uniform on, and he kind of leans back and he boom, skates off, and he disappears, and all of a sudden he comes from the other side, and the stick is still standing there, and he grabs it, and he shows up like, I'm like, wow, that was awesome.
So you really?
Oh, it was fantastic.
See, my wife doesn't like me because once it goes from the game to commercial or from the show to a commercial, bam, 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 I hit that remote and it's just like...
A couple of notes I got from the game. 302 consecutive sellouts at the Pepsi Center. The most ever, I think they said the most ever in the NHL.
Really?
302 consecutive sellouts at the Pepsi Center in Denver.
Maybe moving from Quebec was the thing to do.
Well, financially, I don't think there's any question about that.
I still look at them as the Quebec Nordiques.
Colorado Nordiques.
I hopped on the bandwagon at the end of the Nordiques run when they had Joe Sakic and all these guys coming up.
Poised to win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
They moved to Colorado and win the doggone
I know.
thing.
I mean,
So for you Quebec people out there, and I know there's a lot of them, our hearts are with you. The Minnesota Wild called up from the Houston affiliate, Richard Park. And I saw this guy, and I thought, for some reason, I thought he played for the Badgers. But he's from Seoul, South Korea. South Korean. Wears number 18 for the Minnesota Wild, and played well. They use him on the power play with Marian Gaborik. He played well. As long as we're talking about Marian, the next great one, Gaborik, had a hat trick Tuesday night and a 4-2 win at the X over the Thrashers. I'm telling you, Johnny, this guy.
Everybody came to see that Russian kid. And who's the two down there?
In Atlanta?
Danny Heatley and...
Danny Heatley, former Badger.
And that guy I can't pronounce.
First round pick. He starts with a K.
Ayla Kovalenko.
Yeah.
And Kenny, that's the
Russian
one
guy.
thing with the NHL. I look at those scoring summaries and I can't pronounce half the names anymore. And I'm not saying that in any other way.
I know. It's really changed, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And it's changed. You know what they need to do is they need to put phonetic spelling in a lot of these summaries for these games. And I'm serious. I mean, you read these names, it's like blah, blah, blah. I don't know.
If I got to spend that much time trying to pronounce the name, I just don't want to pronounce it.
Yeah. I mean... And you can even take it to some of the French-Canadian names. Patrick Roy.
Well, but it took a little bit before.
Well, we know it now, but still, I mean, I would like to see.
I did call him Patrick Roy when he was a rookie. Just that's what I thought it was, Patrick Roy.
That's what it looks like.
Wow,
that's exactly what it looks like.
But back in our days, at 409, Yeah, the Edmonton Oilers. Yari Curry was about it.
Yari Curry's going into the NHL Hall of Fame.
And then when Teppo Numminen came along, it was like, okay, that was a tongue twister.
Teppo
Numminen.
Timo. Or no, what is it?
I thought it was Teppo.
Teppo?
Silverfish, let us know. Average guys 99 at hotmail.com. So,
what's the longest name in the NHL? Average guys.
Have we gotten any emails lately?
I'm glad you asked. We got an email from a gentleman up at UMD. His name is Wee, W-E-E. I would imagine that's an Asian nationality or some type. I don't know. Wee, W-E-E. We loves the show and we love you. We wants to get some merchandise. And unfortunately, right now, the average guys do not have any merchandise. But if you'd like to give us some...
we'll be more than happy to.
Yeah, we'll have to come out with some shirts and maybe a cap or a mug or two, or
just to give away.
You know, nice leather jackets with a logo on the back.
Hey, there you go.
A caricature of a John and Ken, the average guys.
It's cool to be American. By the time you're watching this, the Rally for America will have ended.
We'll talk about that on the next program, but tomorrow you and I will be at
City Hall
tomorrow at noon, and I look forward to a good turnout. We're going to have some good weather. That's going to help this. And we had the opportunity to say a couple of things on the news. We're going to be on the radio again tomorrow morning. We got the posters up around town, and I just hope that people...
come out and support it.
Yeah, and if you went down there and you had a good time, let us know. AverageGuys99 at hotmail.com. Let us know, what your thoughts were on the Rally for America.
Hope you made it. So anyway, Kenny, up to the next topic. Mark McGuire retired. Are you shocked?
No, I guess I wasn't shocked. I mean, I was somewhat expecting it, but when it finally happened, yeah, maybe I was a little shocked. But I
have to say,
true giant of the game. Man,
I stopped in here during the Cardinals-Arizona series. It was an afternoon game, and Big Mac was embarrassed by Kurt Schilling. I mean, every at-bat, it was painful to watch. And I think Big Mac's body just gave out.
I think so.
And I think, the big part of it, I think it was too many steroids. Yep.
Think so?
Yep, absolutely. The old body hardened up, wasn't limber anymore. But he'll still go down as the most prolific home run hitter. Like he said, his legacy, 10.2. A homer every 10.2 at-bats.
Our good friend Chuck up at Egerbrecht Chevrolet posed the question to me today. Who hit the most home runs in the decade of the 50s? And I said, well, Mickey Mantle. He said, great guess, wrong answer. I said, well, it would have to be Hank Aaron. Oh, wonderful guess. Again, wrong answer.
There's a black player.
Willie Mays? Ken, great guess. Again, wrong answer. And I'm thinking, it wasn't Hank Aaron. It wasn't Mickey Mantle.
Wasn't Willie Mays?
It was not Willie Mays.
I read Hank Aaron's book.
Don't hit the most home runs in the decade of the 50s. AverageGuys99 at hotmail.com. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to give you a hint, though.
Not Frank Robinson.
Nope. I'll give you a hint.
He was black, wasn't he?
White guy.
White guy. Duke Snider.
Johnny! Ding, 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 ding. You win the... No, I don't have nothing to give you.
See, I read If I Had a Hammer by Hank Aaron, and he was talking about at one point, maybe it was the 60s, how when the black players and the Hispanic players were allowed to play in the game, they ended up dominating. It was probably 1960 that I remember. But the top 7 home run hitters were either black or Hispanic, and the player, I believe, in the 1960s, the first white player, number 7 or 8, was Ron Santo. So that's where I was thrown, because I'm going, Santo didn't play during the 50s, so... But I figured when you said it wasn't Willie Mays and Hank Aaron, I'm going, holy mackerel, now that cuts, cuts it right down. So I thought, Duke. Good, I'm glad I got it. feather in my cap.
Johnny, we got contraction on the table. What the heck is going on?
We got a petition in this town. Kenny calls me up on my cell phone. Johnny, you hear about the Twins petition drive? Take it away, Ken.
I'm listening to the news, and they said if you want to attend this and get your signatures on their list and what have you, they're going to be...
fun and festivities.
Yeah, going to be down at Sky Harbor Airport. And I had to think for a moment. I thought, well, Sky Harbor Airport, are you sure? Sky Harbor Airport's on the other side of Park Point. I thought, come on, you might as well have it at the top of Inger Tower, for God's sakes. What's going on here?
Kenny calls me
Sky
up.
Harbor Airport?
Kenny calls me up and tells me that.
Jeez.
And I do sales for a job, and I'm like, even if I had the check,
You're not going to drive down
there's
there.
no way logistically I could have made it on my sales runs.
Well, here's
that
the
day.
thing. You got a couple of young people from the Twin Cities that are up here. They don't have a clue about what's going on in Duluth.
Well, who the heck would even suggest Sky Harbor?
How did they end up with that? Why not Holiday Inn? Why not Lake Avenue and Superior Street, for God's sake?
Standing on the corner in the nice weather.
God.
Kenny told me Sky Harbor, and I said, God, being the average guys and having a sports talk show, I feel guilty, but there's no way I can drive to the end of Park Point to sign my name.
No, I didn't get to that one.
Have it at the Holiday Center, and I could have ran across the street, but no, are they in town for a couple more days?
I don't know. No, they're traveling across Minnesota.
And they'll say Duluth didn't support us.
Yeah, there was a very poor
Only 3
show up in
people
Duluth.
showed up.
Well, come on, guys. Get your act together, Don't come up here and...
They got some bad advice on that one.
Absolutely horrible.
Because I knew it was coming, but then when Kenny told me, I just laughed.
We were talking
at
to
that.
relatives of Bud Selig. Marvin Miller, former Players
Yeah, okay.
guy, said Bud Selig has got to retire.
Where did you get this from?
I read it maybe on the internet.
Okay. He was in the Sporty News saying the same thing.
Yeah. And let's face it, Bud Selig's interest isn't baseball, it's Milwaukee.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm not saying anything bad about the Brewers or Brewer fans.
So don't take it personally, Dick and Rod.
No, absolutely not. I think the Brewers, they've done the right things. They've got their stadium in place, and let's face it, if the Brewers don't have a stadium, they're in this contract, or are they? Let's think about that.
They wouldn't be. No.
Okay, because of Bud Selig.
Right. He wouldn't contract his own team.
Exactly.
Put his kids out of business.
Yeah, exactly. Moved the baseball commissioner's office moved from Manhattan to Milwaukee. Baloney. Bud, it's time to go. And if I see you in Duluth, I'm going to shoo you in the nuts.
This week's edition of the Sporty News, and it has a couple college basketball guards on the cover. I read an article just briefly, scanned through it quick. I'll have to read it more in depth, but contraction is just the way the owners, they're PO'd at the union after all these defeats since 73. They thought they could just contract 2 teams, not even include the union. Now the union's coming out swinging and fighting. It ain't going to happen.
Contraction ain't going to happen?
I don't think so, not in the end. There's going to be blood on the streets. Because, see, now what's going to happen? They have that dispersal draft. And one reason the Twins, as this article is semi-stated, you got Radke, you got Milton, you got Mays. If you disperse the Devil Rays, you wouldn't have the quality of players. With the Twins, you get rid of them, you got these great players. All of a sudden, you got to pay them big salaries because all of a sudden they're free agents through a dispersal draft, going from worst to, the worst team down to the best team to draft. Then when the free agents come on the market, it holds down all their salaries because you got a glut of too many talented players, and it's just a way to hold down salaries. And when I read it, Kenny, it's true.
It's not working.
You glut the market. The union, there won't be baseball next year with contraction. Move the Expos, like the writer said. Hey, make another team out in New York.
Well,
that way they have to compete with 3 teams in the city. The guy was sort of being facetious.
Okay. Yeah.
But yet, hey, when the Yankees lose some fans and the Mets lose some fans, But it's Bud Selig is the devil.
I think it was a player rep said if you would have been talking back in 10 years ago at places like Atlanta and Milwaukee,
Cleveland
would have been considered for contraction, but they got their stadium deals done, and I don't think there's any question. I mean, you can't debate the fact the Twins need a stadium. We just got to find a way to get a stadium built. And I think there's just too much arguing about using public money. And I don't think using some public money is wrong. I just don't. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think that we're going to notice in our daily lives an effect it has on us by giving some money to a stadium.
You don't see it on your paycheck.
Yeah, of course you don't.
You know, you still.
And if you knew the things that were on your paycheck that the state is funding or spending, let me tell you, there'd be a lot of things you'd be upset and you would demand to be changed. But we don't know that. We don't know what the heck where our money goes to the state, do we?
You just hope that it's going to the right places,
well,
but,
you know. I mean, we can sit here and talk about the welfare rolls in this state.
Kenny, I have more fond memories, and some people argue with me because they're football fans. I have more good memories about the Minnesota Twins, even in their crappiest days, listening to them on the radio.
Yeah.
And just, a hot summer night, you can't sleep, but you're laying in bed and you hit the sleep, the snooze alarm. You just listen to the West Coast game. It's relaxing.
And it's family entertainment. I mean, let's face it.
It's affordable.
It's affordable family entertainment, much more so than a Vikings game. And I'm not taking anything away from the Vikings. I've become a little
cynical,
a little disenchanted with the Vikings lately. And the reason is, from the top on down, I'm not a big Red McCombs fan. I'm not a huge Denny Green fan, and they haven't done a lot for me lately to, say anything good about him. You're not going to take your family to a Vikings game and have the same type of atmosphere as you would with your family at a baseball game.
Kenny, that Buccaneer game last year when we went down to it, the animalistic behavior we saw after the game.
Kill him! Smash him in the face! Don't worry, son. I'll talk to you in just a sec here. Get him out!
But no. But after the game, walking out to our car, those two guys got the crap beat out of them. Remember that one got sucker punched?
What?
Remember in the parking lot? We were walking to our car. Those two people were walking to their car. There was a group of people there. They started talking words. The one guy went to walk away, and that guy came around and hit him, knocked his glasses off.
Yeah. No.
There was
right.
The reason was it was like those two guys. All they did was walk up to their car. They were more or less told, you ain't going to get in your car.
Yeah.
Guys like, we ain't here to have no problems. They turn around to walk away and bam, sucker punched. You know what I mean? I'm like going, wow. And I'm not saying I love football. But what I'm saying is, after a Twins game, you see a lot of fathers and mothers, with their kids, walking out, the kids sort of some sleeping in their arms, some walking all starry-eyed. I saw Kirby Puckett. I saw, Doug Mankiewicz. I saw the Olympic hero, I don't know. Take your pick.
Well, if I had to choose, it'd be very, very, very hard. I think I'd lean to the Twins.
I would.
I mean, you've got... We talked about this earlier this week, and I kind of shocked and surprised you with some things.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
My sports favorites are... It's a tie between baseball and hockey. I
thought yours was hockey, football, baseball, basketball.
I almost would maybe put hockey. If I had to choose, it would be hockey, baseball, football. But
see, with me, it would be baseball far and above, followed by football with basketball closing in right behind. I've always liked basketball, but there's something about it I like even more. And then hockey. I almost have to lump hockey, basketball, and football together. Baseball
John, do you know how to skate?
I never mastered it.
Okay, well.
I could never stand on them.
You've never played the game?
Never played it.
All right.
But I'm saying, I'm not trying to shortchange hockey, but I have to say I like all sports, except soccer. But no, I can't.
Johnny, now wait a second. I know you're a big fan of bowling.
Oh, absolutely.
Huh?
Absolutely.
You want to talk about the finer points of bowling here?
Well, if you're using bumpers, I could get into it, but...
Have they designed a four-fingered ball yet?
Can they design how to not lose your temper?
How are we doing, Cal?
Yeah, what are we doing on time? Well, 20 more minutes. Bing, bing, 20-minute mark. Let's talk some ice hockey, though, again. The New York Rangers, Kenny.
Watched the game the other night, the Flyers and the Rangers. Eric Lindros had a really nice goal. Theo Fleury passed across ice. He stopped it with his shin pads. And the puck dropped down, and he swooped it into the nets, and they went on to win that game.
I'm telling you.
At Madison Square Garden. Coming up, and I know this is quite a ways in the future, but the big game is January 12th at Philadelphia for the Rangers, where Eric Lindros returns to Philadelphia. And do you think that game will be on TV? Hell yeah. I'm looking forward to that game. You know what? I'm going to be very honest with you. Bobby Clark, let's face it, Bobby Clark and Eric Lindros and that whole thing really got out of hand. Bobby Clark said some real mean things. I never heard Eric Lindros say any mean things as mean as Bobby Clark had ever said. I think Eric now has handled this thing very well. He made the comment last night. He goes, hey, let's face it. He goes, that's an organization I gave my heart and soul to. You know, some people can, debate that, but he seemed very sincere, and it's time to move on. Things, he's on a new team and is moving on. And I just
hope he can stay concussion free. It'd be nice, But I mean, they started off slow, but now they're 12. They won 6 in a row. They're 12-7-1 in that 0 thing, for overtime loss.
So where are we? Who are the top 3 teams in that division? The Atlantic Division, you've got
the Rangers, Islanders, and Philadelphia.
The Rangers have caught the Islanders?
Yeah. Well, they're tied, 25 points apiece.
Really?
But I'm glad to see the Islanders rebounding. I'd love to see an old New York rivalry reform.
Really?
Oh, yeah. That's classic hockey.
Oh, rivalry, yeah, sure.
Rivalry, yeah.
Good. Yeah, I can relate to that.
Then in the Northeast, you got Toronto, Ottawa, and Boston.
Ottawa's in second place?
Yep.
Boy, they're on fire, too.
And then you got Carolina and Washington. I'm not going to go too steady here.
Carolina and Washington.
But the old Norris division, Kenny, the Red Wings, they're looking good this year. I watched that NHL tonight on ESPN2. And
probably the team to beat in the Western Conference.
Well, they signed the guns.
They did, absolutely. And Chicago is second in that division.
I was going to say, the Blackhawks.
No kidding. Well, they've got are they still undefeated at home?
But the thing is, you got Nashville and Columbus there. I'm sorry, but why weren't the Wild in that division? I've thought that since last year. Why not have the...
Because you can't put Nashville or Columbus in the division the Wild are in.
I know, but...
I don't mind this division the Wild are in, and when this thing was starting to come out back in '97 that they'd be in the Northwest Division with Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, and Colorado, it was like, you didn't want to see that Detroit-Chicago thing, St. Louis thing broken up, but I don't mind this division. I
don't mind it, but Kenny, look at it. By the end of the season, things do shake out.
Look at Calgary and Edmonton. Calgary, which was on the verge of losing their team along with Edmonton, but Calgary they haven't made the playoffs like in 6 years or some crazy thing like that. Here they are on top of the Northwest Division and playing well. I don't see this team turning things around for the worse. I think they're going to maintain that level of play. Edmonton, same thing.
Edmonton's always been a team the last 2-3 years that have been on the cusp. I mean, they lose players because of the Canadian dollar. Let's face it.
Goaltending, they're very solid. Up front, they are as well.
But I mean, Minnesota, I think we have our work cut out. It's a dang tough division. Vancouver.
Well, Minnesota was banged up with some injuries, and now Willie Mitchell's back. Sekarash is back. So defensively, we're starting to get some guys back here. Goaltending has been somewhat of a turnaround. Manny Fernandez has not been the Manny Fernandez that he was last year. And Dwayne Rollie, the goalie, has played unbelievably well.
You got to go with the hot hand.
Yeah.
But, we got to get down to a Wild game.
I'd love it.
I'd
love to.
We got press credentials this year for the T-Wolves.
Okay.
Haven't brought it up to my wife yet.
Nice seeing you, bud.
Nice seeing you.
You look...
Andy Cameron. You're on TV.
Bye. Hello, goodbye.
Okay.
Go USA.
There you go. Go USA. Rally for America.
Oh.
Dirty Bob's old girlfriend.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
I haven't seen her in 20 years.
Is that the one that worked at Channel 3?
No, that's his ex-wife.
Oh, okay.
So anyway.
One final division, the Pacific Division. Who do we have there? San Jose.
And Phoenix. But Kenny, unlike the last 2 years, this is going into our, fourth hockey season? Yeah,
like that.
Would be.
Johnny, where are the Kings in that division? I don't see the Kings. Dallas. And, there's Los Angeles at the bottom.
At the bottom. And I can say I was a Kings fan way back at 409. You're down in Key West in beautiful weather, and I was up in Duluth stuck in a snowstorm, and you guys were watching ESPN, watching the Kings and the North Star little blip on TV, and I was up in Duluth, and you probably don't, Kenny don't remember a lot of this stuff.
Well, where are you going with this? What happened?
Just all of a sudden you guys were sitting down in Florida, and you're wondering, I wonder what Johnny's thinking, and I was sitting up there going,
yeah, okay.
The Stars beat the Kings, darn it.
Yeah.
So, but anyway.
The Stars beat the Kings, darn it.
Well, yeah.
That was the North Stars.
I know.
Okay.
So anyways, Michael Jordan lost his 5th game in a row. Much to do about nothing. Well, if anybody thought the Bullets were going to come in.
Who?
Oh, the Wizards. Old habits are hard to break. Because it became politically incorrect to be called Bullets.
Right.
So they call it the Wizards.
Right.
But if they thought Michael Jordan was single-handedly going to make this team a top team, 10-1, they're trying to figure this whole thing out.
So
and Michael's going up
It's not the Washington Wizards no more. It's the Jordan Wizards. The Michael Wizards.
or the Washington Jordans. But I'm like, the media has to make a story out of it. That's just like, oh, he hasn't had a 4-game losing streak, a 5-game losing streak since 1989. Well, who cares?
Where's Scottie Pippen playing?
Portland.
Any chance that Pippen could join?
That salary cap is a hindrance. The Wizards would like to get Charles Oakley. He's around 1,000 years old, but,
He ain't coming back. Is he attempting to come back?
Who, Oakley?
Yeah.
He's playing for the Bulls now.
Okay. I just said Barkley.
I'm just saying, enjoy Michael while you can. Watch him on an individual basis, but don't look for the team to be this great team. Hopefully competitive by the end of the year. But the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Disappointing loss on television to the Cavaliers.
I know.
Jeez.
At home.
They just fell flat on their face. Cleveland went to a zone defense.
Jazzed it up a little bit.
Yeah, took Minnesota out of their game, but I felt that they should have won that game. I mean, that was disappointing.
We're going to get down for a T-Wolves game. We're going to get down to some wild games.
Yeah.
But I watched that game, and there again, I can sit there and watch a whole game now. It's something I couldn't do. There's a difference when you're 24 and trying to watch a basketball game and 36 with 2 kids and you're home. There's a lot more.
Sure.
A lot of things that go on that make you sit there and say, okay, I can watch this game. The kids are in bed. I ain't going anywhere. So, the T-Wolves, will they maintain it throughout this year? They still don't have a center to compete.
Well, that division with Dallas and San Antonio, I hope so. I hope they can. Kevin Garnett is going to have to start here real quick. I mean, we're talking like this year. He's going to have to start stepping up and really taking this team to the forefront, I think. I think it's time for Kevin Garnett to be the leader that he is and will be. You've got Joe Smith back here, and he's really played well from the very beginning. Zerbiak is, again, very well. What's his name?
Zerbiak. Rasho Nestorovic.
Is he gonna be able to play in this league or what?
We're giving him every chance.
I mean, when's he gonna bloom?
Well, when's he gonna bulk up?
Well, okay, but that's
when I see him
part of the bloom.
When I see him trying to post up against Shaquille O'Neal, it's like, oh my God.
I know.
It's bad stuff.
Kevin McHale needs to come out of retirement.
No, is there something in basketball I missed lately? Because they have this thing in here, and usually something happens that makes you take notice. But it says here, fewest points scored in a half. And these are the lowest point totals by one team in a half in a regulation game since the 24-second clock. On December 14th, 1999, in the first half, the LA Clippers scored only 19 points against the LA Lakers. I mean, I didn't see this earlier today, but just looking at it, I saw the Clippers take a look.
In 99, huh?
19 points in the first half.
That's bad.
That's horrible.
That's not too good.
That's 9.5 points per quarter. I mean, that's what you call useless trivia. The T. Hey,
What?
6 minutes. Okay, as we're on the basketball, UMD played the main U.
I was listening to that game on the radio. Did you know
I caught bits and pieces.
Did you know
of
that
it.
game was not carried in the Twin Cities? It was not carried in the Twin Cities.
On radio?
Yep, on radio.
Really?
Yeah. I was shocked. I'm listening to the game. UMD actually has a lead. I didn't listen to the whole game. I got the paper the next morning, and I thought, well, the Gophers won the game barely.
7 points?
Beat UMD at home.
We went on an 8-0 run at the end.
You know what they should do? They should make this at least an every other year thing.
Why not?
And next time play at UMD. No,
I would say if the main U came up here to play the Bulldogs, I'd be there. And I'd bring the
fantastic.
camera. Huh.
Dan Monson said we were fortunate to win the game. Gary Holquist, UMD's coach, great opportunity for his players. He said they were privileged to be a part of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was a fantastic event for the basketball fans of the state of Minnesota.
It's spreading goodwill amongst the universities.
Rick Rickard is going to be here for 4 years, and they asked him. Steve LePage did a real nice piece on the recap of that game, and said Rick Rickard said he loves it here. He loves it in Minnesota, at the campus there. And I'm so glad that he chose that. They showed him and his dad on the court, chatting prior to the game, a little pregame warm up for Rick, and he made the right choice.
He made the right choice. I wish he would have went to Duke. I like Duke, but I mean, ultimately, I'll make my opinion because I can. First Amendment rights. Bob Kunze was stirring him down the wrong road to Arizona. And Lou Rickert and Mrs. Rickert, I don't know your first name, thank you for stirring Rick to Minnesota. That was the right place for him to go. Because, I mean, there's something about Minnesota nice. His parents know Rick better than anybody. And I think that going to the main U, will he have the national prominence as playing at an Arizona or a Duke? Not necessarily. But I think this is his...
We'll be able to watch him play. We're going to see more games with him playing at Minnesota than we would if he was at Arizona, let's face it.
Right.
We're going to watch him on Fox Sports Net and be able to follow him through his career. I think it's fantastic.
I think it's great.
I think it is too. John, some news that just came out today, the Duluth Superior Dukes have named a general manager.
When?
Today? Former director of sales and co-owner of the team, partner if you will, Adam Ellert, has been named general manager of the Duluth Superior Dukes. Yeah. I just hope that Adam has some good ideas. I read the press release, and
when did you get this?
Today.
Up at your office?
No, actually I got it off the Excite page. I'm going through today's transactions, and I'm like, Duluth Superior Dukes, huh? Yeah, listed Adam Ellert being named as general manager of the Duluth Superior Dukes. Adam is working on partnerships with local businesses. He's involved in the community with the Mentor Duluth program and some other community active programs, and I like that. And I think that Adam has got at least a strong sense of the business that needs to be dealt with is for the Dukes to be successful. Again, I almost said Weird Al. Dirty Al Gallagher is former general manager. I think that they're going to work well together. They've already made several transactions.
Yeah, I saw that in today's paper.
And I think that you're going to see a whole different ball team, whole different product, if you will, on the ball field next year. We're going to be a better team next year.
Now that the shock is worn off, I mean, I didn't know this. Adam Eller, congratulations.
Congratulations, Adam. And
we got to get him on the show then and talk about it.
The average guys will support you 100% on this.
Adam, the only advice I'll give you, I don't know how your scouting of talent is, work closely with Dirty Al, because I think Al Gallagher is bringing a lot to this team. I like Al's approach to it.
I think that's how this maybe kind of became... where Adam was named. They were searching for somebody.
I like this. This is good.
And I think this is going to be kind of a little bit of a teamwork, if you will. This is going to be a coach, general managers, a lot of teamwork going on here.
I like this.
Johnny,
okay.
this Gary, Indiana team that's going to join the league next season, did you know they're going to play all their games on the road? The stadium will not be finished. They're going to play every single game on the road.
There's another minor league team that did this last year.
Jeez, for heaven's sakes.
Get your suitcases out. Bring extra underwear.
Yeah.
Go to the laundromat.
Real quick, Kelly, you got any NASCAR news for us?
Oh, Bill Elliott. That's at a birthday party.
Awesome Bill from
to all those Wanamaker's out there that watch the average guys.
Won the race last week
in a Dodge
in Florida in a Dodge. And did you see the unfortunate circumstances in pit row where Ricky Rudd's crew was ran into by Ward Burton?
Yeah.
Ow.
Oh.
Ow. Bobby Burrell, one of the guys that was hurt the most serious, was upgraded from serious. He's in good condition now. Hopefully he'll make a full recovery.
And who's the owner? Robert Yates is making all of his crew now wear safety helmets.
They should. Those guys that are on pit row need to wear helmets, and that was made very clear after this race at Miami this past week.
But the thing is, do you think being a pit crew member is just as tough as playing pro sports?
Absolutely.
It has to be.
Absolutely.
I mean, to taking off those tires and throwing them on.
Awesome effects.
Yeah,
John.
you know.
Jeez. I mean, you don't think that these guys practice? Let me tell you something.
They have to practice.
The gas man, these guys back there, they are trained professionals.
Oh,
I think they go to schooling for that. No,
Kenny, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, realistically, when you can change the tires, fill up the gas tank, wash the windshield, and have them out of there in 19 seconds or however long it takes, I mean, what is the average? What is the average pit time?
I don't know. Average 15, 16 seconds, I would say. That's a real good pit. You know, if you can go in there and get 4 tires, a cold drink, a windshield wash, and a full tank of gas. Real quick. NASCAR is going to be at Atlanta this weekend. Atlanta Motor Speedway. For the Napa 500, Jeff Gordon will win the points championship this week at Atlanta.
If he does what?
It'll be if he finishes 32nd or worse,
or better. He can't finish worse than
32nd or better.
Okay.
Excuse me. The race will be aired on NBC at 11 a.m. on Sunday. 62% of those people polled said pit crews should wear helmets.
I never thought of it until it happened, and it's like it's
if
sensible.
You want to get more of a racing NASCAR fix, Sunday night on Fox Sports Net, Beyond the Glory, Dale Earnhardt story.
Hey, look at that though, number 6 on fantasy football. Iron Maiden.
Oh man, what are some of I was looking at some of the teams here. Right now in your fantasy football league, number 2, number 1 is It Don't Care. It Don't Care. A team that's not doing too well here is
He Hate Me.
Hail Mary.
Well, you got Iron Maiden on there.
You got the Bear, you got Spank Me, Lucky 7, Gridiron Gladiators, Mother Goose, Captain Doughboy, TDDS. I'm not too sure what that's all about.
But if you want to catch the average guy's taping, come down to Players Sports Bar right on Grand Avenue out in West Duluth here. And check it out. Come on in. Say hi to Mac, the owner, and come on down. Watch the average guys tape a show.
Johnny, real quick. What's going on with this weather? I mean, we have had...
The Lord is holding out for Rally for America.
We've had awesome weather since July. I mean... There's been a couple of days in there.
I'll take it. I'm
telling you, Duluth's been very fortunate this
So next
season.
week, we got to cut it here. Until next week, Kenny K. I'm Johnny D. We're the average guys. Say goodnight, Kelly. Remember, it's cool to be average, and we'll see you later. Hello and welcome to another edition of The Average Guys, the Deck Edition, where the Duluth East Greyhounds are taking on the Elk River
Elks.
That sounds good.
And
a goal!
they just scored a goal. That was on a power play, John.
Basically, we're going to do 30, 40 minutes of just sports talk, and then afterwards, Kenny, tell them what we got coming up.
I talked to Mike Randolph, the athletic director out at Duluth East, and set up an interview with Tom Randolph. So look forward to a Tom Randolph interview at the end of the program. And few.
Tom Randolph.
I'm sorry, Mike Randolph.
Okay.
I think I went to school with a Tom Randolph. Mike Randolph, head hockey coach of Duluth East. Thank you. And a few players. Try to get a couple of the seniors on the program. Nick Licari, maybe a Kohler, what have you. Yeah, so we're looking forward to
finding out what's in store this year for the Duluth East Greyhounds.
well, it's funny because I
And there's Chris Earl.
do we know this guy?
I'd like not to. And he brought down my hockey tickets.
The one, the only, the Chris Earl of KDLH Sports. Chris,
What's up, gentlemen?
welcome to the Average
A
Guys.
completely unplanned impromptu visit.
Well, this is what
I owe
makes
you hockey tickets, by the way, Johnny D.
That's right, brother.
Owe you for Friday and Saturday, so you go fix that. Make sure it's irised up. It'll get a little dark in here otherwise. Just a heads up.
hockey tickets for.
For him, he got the Packer game correct.
What are we talking about here?
Well, I called down just to BS
Oh,
with
the radio show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, of course,
What
the
do you want,
best
Friday or Saturday?
Saturday.
What, Saturday? I'll
Yeah.
set you up for that.
For now,
I'll take care of this for you.
the UMD game.
UMD Denver coming up
I'm
Saturday.
going to be here Friday night.
7:05 here. You can actually catch that game on WDIO.
That's right. And they can catch the. What is
Shocking.
the name of your morning show? Is it still the Chris Earl, John Gilbert show?
It's whatever we want to call it. It's a morning show, 7 to 11, the Earl and Gilbert show, whatever you want to call it.
9 to 11.
9 to 11. That's just 7 to 11.
That's a long.
See-
That's a long shift, brother.
We're taping this on Thursday. Man, by Thursday, every week I'm worn out by Thursday. Thursday around 7 o'clock, man, I'm loopy. I'm practically drunk, even though I'm a .0 right now. My mental capacity is such that, man, I'm out there. Ah.
So hey, since we got you on the show, let's go on to contraction. What's your personal feelings on Major League Baseball, Bud Selig, the Minnesota Twins, and contraction in general?
Well, Selig right now is out to make sure the Twins sleep with the fishes. There's nothing more to it than that. He's actually out to get Minnesota because he and Pohlad have been in cahoots for so long about this. And they've been terrible about how they reveal their true intentions towards a lot of this. When it comes to contraction, say, oh, we haven't really thought much about it, then boom, it's only find out they've been dealing with this for a long time. And what they're going to wind up having to do is, because of a lot of home cooking in the judicial system in Minnesota, you're going to have the state of Minnesota and the taxpayers with ample opportunity to come up with the money for a new stadium. I like the most recent proposal. It's been kind of kicked around in St. Paul, where they levy a surcharge for bars, restaurants, other places that are going to benefit by having a stadium within walking distance, because those places, like places down by the XL Energy Center, a lot of the places down by there, they benefit 2-, 3-fold. Like during the Neil Diamond concert when I went down to the X,
Right.
you couldn't get a beer for 40 minutes in any of those
That
places.
might be the only option because the state's going to have a deficit this year, and how are they going to get money for a stadium from Jesse Ventura?
Well, the whole thing is that Major League Baseball, Bud Selig has come out and said that Major League Baseball has lost $500 million this past year. 25 of the 30 teams all lost money. But yet, on the other hand, the Boston Red Sox now, 53% share of it, has sold for $350 million. Now,
Here's my stupid question.
Who's going to invest in that?
Here's my stupid question. I heard this kicked around on a national radio show. If baseball is such a bad business, why are corporations lining up around the corner to get into it? That's my question for it. I mean, if these guys aren't cooking the books, and 25 of the 30 teams really did lose money last season, why did they all overwhelmingly re-elect Bud Selig as commissioner? If this guy is leading them off the Titanic, why are they going to have him run the ship anymore? See, there's something kooky with baseball right now, and they're afraid to admit it. And that is why baseball is a dying sport. That is why 20 years from now, when we talk about the Yankees and Derek Jeter, our kids are going to go, who? What sport did they play? Because that's going to be behind bowling and Texas Hold'em in the American sports conscience in 30 years. You mark my words, Johnny D.
Sports Illustrated reported that Wrigley Field bleacher seats are going to rise 60% to $25 for a bleacher seat. It's in the edition of Sports Illustrated. I'll share it with you later. Yep. And Jesse Ventura went on record as saying that baseball wants to contract the Minnesota Twins, a fiscally sound team. The league should take
The Texas Rangers?
well, no, but they should follow suit, so to speak, what the Minnesota Twins are trying to do.
The Twins
financially.
made money. The Twins have made money.
Right.
But then the Twins are coming out saying, you know what, though, and they said this actually on Thursday, today as we're taping this, which I thought was kind of stunning. They said, you know what, we are a private business. We are not a community asset. They actually came out and said this. We are just another business that's looking to lose money. And by doing that, they essentially paraphrased Duluth East goal. They essentially paraphrased that by doing this, if they want to go out of business, they can go out of business, which I think is very disheartening, I think, as a baseball fan, that the Twins right now are actually appealing the injunctions to try to eliminate themselves. Isn't that a disgrace?
Today's Duluth News Tribune, Tom Powers of the St. Paul Pioneer Press. Seelig and company have managed to do what no one thought possible. They have turned public sentiment toward the players. Imagine that, where once the players and their union were considered the enemy because of the extravagant salaries, they now are the good guys. Meanwhile, the owners look like a band of cutthroats scheming and working deals behind closed doors as they try to line one another's pockets.
Here's what I find kind of screwy right now about the way the media in the cities is treating this. First few days it came out, they were all over it. News sections, sports sections, all leading with contraction, but you know what? They're playing right now to baseball's hands. They've all kind of fallen under the back page. Whenever a few things happen, they'll mention it. But I think a lot of people in the Twin Cities, whether it's newspaper columnists, fans, government officials, state senators, I think they all see that the fate has been sealed unless they can come up with a stadium. It really is nothing more than formal blackmail is what they are doing. And it's a disgrace right now. It's an absolute disgrace. And I'll tell you what, guys, I'm at the end of the period. There's free food in the press box. That's why I got in this business. So I must leave. I must leave.
What are they serving on tonight's menu?
Oh, I don't know. It's whatever Perkins brings by, which is always magnet food.
Well, be sure to tell John Gilbert we're here. We have to get his thoughts on this upcoming hockey season.
You want
high
those
school
thoughts?
hockey.
You guys a win back.
And, well, I've got some. I've got to talk to John. Get his thoughts on this stuff.
Seriously though, if you want someone for hockey who knows anything and everything about it, there is no finer hockey writer in America than John Gilbert, my co-host. I don't give out compliments very easily.
But the Chris Earl and John Gilbert show on 710 WDSM from 9 to 11. Now you say it on your radio show, so quick pick for the Vikings, for the Viking and Packers games coming up this weekend.
I don't remember the exact scores that I announced. I do like the Vikings to lose. I like the Packers to win. Also, hey, can I plug Channel 3? Make sure to catch us each and every night, 6 and 10 on News Channel 3. We're all over it, guys. Love your show.
All right.
Take care, guys.
Scene 3 Sports. Fantastic.
I may not be Dennis Miller, but I'd like to be an interview that you guys cherish. Because I remember when you interviewed DM last year, I was outstanding. Have a good one, guys. Good night now.
Thanks, Chris. Chris Earl,
His wisdom and thoughts on contraction.
the Sports King at Channel 3.
And this guy is about the most knowledgeable sports fan in the area. He's shaking his head no. No, humble. But anyway, yeah, I won a couple.
That was kind of neat.
I called the radio show and they go, "Hey, Johnny D, you won a couple. You won some tickets." And I'm like, "No, I didn't." He's like, "Yes, you did." And I said, "What?" 2 tickets for this upcoming weekend. And I go, "How?" He goes, "Well, he goes, let me look here. You got the winning score. I picked the Packers to beat the Lions 24-21. And the funny thing is, when they asked me, I called up just to talk, and they go, "Okay, give us your picks for this upcoming weekend's games." And I just threw numbers out there. I wasn't even, it's like, Packers 24-21. I thought they were playing at Lambeau.
You got it.
I got it. So,
Price of a bleacher seat in Wrigley Field next season, 60% more than the same ticket cost 2 seasons ago. $24 for a bleacher seat at Wrigley.
$24 for a bleacher.
24. What's it going to be in a decade? What's it going to be in 10 years?
well, the thing is, the bleachers in Wrigley Field used to be synonymous with your bleacher bums. I mean, just your partiers that went out and had a good time. But even then, it's become a corporate thing where a lot of those tickets are by a big. So people show up in suits now instead of cutoffs and tank tops, and it's that whole mystique of the bleacher fans and Wrigley Field is sort of not, it's gone by the wayside, which a lot of baseball has. They've taken away the element of what the game's about, and it's just this corporate greed. And my mom and dad had me read that article when I stopped by there today, and I couldn't agree with it anymore.
About Seelig and company and how they've turned the sentiment. The tide has turned from the players being the bad guys to all of a sudden they're the good guys. And the owners are these cutthroats that are... it's just a shame what they're trying to do to the Twins. The Expos, I don't know. There might be.
They love their hockey.
They love their hockey. Absolutely.
But they said the Expos have the Expo Montreal used to support baseball, but in that strike in '94, when they were in first place, it stopped. Because they were always getting close to the playoffs and/or World Series, but never could quite get there. But they used to get, $1.5 million a year. But after that strike, they're again the small market Expos. What a great year to cut them off. And then, boy, talk about screwing up a good thing. I just hope they lose their antitrust exemption.
Well, it sounds like they're going to. This is really the biggest challenge they've had.
And they created the challenge.
Right. I do have to report, John, as long as we're talking baseball, I got a call today from former general manager of the Dukes, our friend David Cicchetti, who is currently residing in Quincy, Massachusetts. He'll be working, he's on the payroll, working for a minor league team out east, and called to report everything's fine. He's settled in, and we're going to stay in touch here and keep an eye on David and find out where his career takes him. And wanted to say hi to you and all the fans and viewers. And, yeah, David Cicchetti doing alive and well in Brockton, Massachusetts, home of marvelous Marvin Hagler and was it Rocky Marciano, I think he said? Yeah, the high school is called the Boxers.
Really?
Yeah, not after the shorts, after the Boxers, yeah. Used to be the shoe capital of the world.
Brockton, Mass. What's made the?
I don't know. That's what he said. I don't know. Well,
So
Kelly shaking her head, yeah.
Okay, just to touch on some old news because we had Thanksgiving weekend. Things got a little skewered. Ichiro Suzuki MVP award. You know how I feel, and I'll tell the viewers in a second. What do you feel?
Well, he had a great year. I'm a little anti. He was a professional baseball player for several years.
We're not talking Rookie of the Year. We're talking Most Valuable Player.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I'm talking Rookie of the Year.
Okay. How do you feel about the Rookie of the Year?
I'm not satisfied with it. MVP. It was either him or Giambi, and I think Suzuki really captured the nation. Was named to the All-Star team, and he proved at the beginning of the season there was so much doubt that this guy was going to be able to handle the inside pitch, wouldn't last the full season because of his small frame. Well, he proved everybody wrong in every facet of the game. MVP, yes. Rookie of the Year, no. That's Kenny K's.
Johnny D's thoughts is, the American media and baseball in general has always belittled the Japanese professional league, saying that it's inferior, their product is nowhere near the level of American League Baseball. They predicted that he wouldn't be able, like Kenny said, to handle the inside fastball. They said this about him, they said that about him. Until the American media says that Japanese baseball can be at a level that is close to professional Major League Baseball, then I say he's eligible for Rookie of the Year because they do not give the Japanese leagues any credit for what they do. So if baseball media and baseball writers start writing articles that the Japanese league is good, maybe they'll consider it a professional league and not make him eligible. Now, the MVP, I don't have a problem. I was a big Ichiro supporter before the season started. But I think that, to me, an MVP is the most valuable player. That means leadership. And I think leadership is being a leader in the clubhouse. And Ichiro doesn't know how to speak American. He has an interpreter. How can you be a leader? How can you be the most valuable player? It's just more than getting 244 singles. It's about yelling at your teammates, getting on their case, riding them, pushing them.
Johnny, I think maybe Ichiro did that in an opposite way. He came here and, absolutely unproven in the league. And again, all of his critics said that there's no way that he would perform at a major league level, let alone MVP. And I think that he was able to go onto the field and do it day in and day out. And maybe that was the spark that might have given the
getting on base 244 times plus the walks he got. Yeah, that's that's a catalyst.
He really created a spark and energy amongst that team. Would they have been as good as they were without him? I don't think so. I really don't think they would have been as dominant as they were.
Like I say, I don't have a problem with him being MVP, and I think 8 points separating the two. Flip a coin. Yeah. On to the next topic.
Basketball.
Okay.
Minnesota Timberwolves playing real well. They go on a West Coast swing up to Seattle and down to the LA Clippers, and what do? They look foolish in LA.
You watch the game?
Yeah, I watched some of it. The Clippers had their highest turnover rate all season long so far, and the Timberwolves just fell flat on their face and almost got beat by 20 points.
But those West Coast swings, Kenny. Okay, trust.
They were a 10 team going into the game.
Trust, the Clippers are a good team. They're gelling a little bit, but I don't have a problem with the Clippers beating them. I just say flying out there, getting settled in, you know.
They had a game in Seattle prior to that game.
Now Saturday night, I believe they play the Lakers.
Yeah, right.
No, that'll be a good test. I'd like to see how they stack up with them with that nod.
Interesting. They play Wednesday against the Clippers, and then they have 2 days off. Wonder what the boys are going to be doing in L.A. for the next 2 days.
Getting in some trouble, brother. But you watch Rick Rickert.
Yeah, I did. And
for a freshman, he looked pretty darn good.
I wasn't so much impressed with Rick. I was more impressed with the Gophers, period. And the way that they were able to go down to Wake Forest. They should have won the game.
They had their chances.
I mean, they had a lead practically through the whole game. They should have won that game, and doggone it if they didn't come out and lose it in just the final, moments of the game. But hey, it was neat to watch them on ESPN2, and hopefully we'll get to see more of Rick. The teams are both coming back on to start the second period. It's tied at 1. Johnny, Sports Illustrated. What is this? The December 3rd issue. Got a little article in here about. Killer looks. Wally Zerbiak, all he wanted was a few more shots a game. He's getting them now, and the Timberwolves are on a tear. Well, I'm reading here, it talks about how the Timberwolves are taking advantage of this zone coverage and
zone defense.
Right, deploying what Flip Saunders calls a hyperbolic paraboloid transitional floating zone. Minnesota has confounded opponents. Holding them to just under 42% shooting, third best in the league. Kevin Garnett, Joe Smith, and improving 7-foot center Rasho Nestorovic can each reach halfway to Duluth. Huh. I'm like, what the heck? Allowing the front court to cover vast expanses. Huh? Duluth get some mention in the Sports Illustrated article about the Timberwolves.
Well, Zerbiak out of Miami of Ohio, when they drafted him, I thought, okay, Garnett's their go-to player, but last year I thought, being that now this is his third year, why not give him the ball more? And now they are, and
it's worked out good for him and the team. Absolutely. And he'll be an all-star this year.
And then, there'll be a baby being born in 3 weeks, but the T-Wolves have signed off on press credentials for this year for the average guys. So once the baby's born and things get settled down, me and Kenny will be going down there to cover a couple of T-Wolves games before the year is over.
Here come the Duluth East Greyhounds. Well, now why are they...
Tommy Kohler scored the goal.
So they don't share the dressing rooms with the Bulldogs. They have to come out from the opposite side onto the bench. Okay, well, that's different.
Well, I think the Bulldogs, that must be their own haunts. Then the women's team must share it with the men. Not at the same time, but...
I wonder, do they use the dressing room?
I would think so.
All right.
That Title IX stuff.
All right.
But anyway, Kenny, football though, the Vikings 13-3 loss to the Bears.
Vikings will lose this Sunday at Pittsburgh. The Vikings will win.
Kenny, that's twice you've picked them.
The Vikings will win one more game this season.
Against who? Detroit?
Probably, maybe Detroit. They're going to end the season 5-11. And
wow.
I'm going to start paying closer attention to college football and figuring out who they might be able to draft. I'm telling you, I'm a Vikings fan. I've been from the beginning of this season. This Corey Stringer thing.
You thought it was going to...
optimistic. I was hopeful, but it's hit me that this thing really is been the big reason that this team hasn't done well. It's been the big reason. Losing the players they had, and we know all the players, certainly hasn't helped. But this Corey Stringer death has hurt this team.
But I think it's the attitude. It reeks. Danny Green must go. I mean, I heard on ESPN radio, there's words that Bill Parcells' name is being mentioned, and I'm like going, okay, that's just, you hear that name being mentioned, but I don't want to put much precedence in it.
John, I think a coaching change might help. I think an ownership change would help.
Astute observation.
Did you read this article about Duluth East? Yes, 31 seconds into the second period.
Number 18.
Well, we'll find out who that is.
They'll announce it in just a minute here. But the Elk River Elks.
I think it's the Elks. Where did our camera person go? What the heck?
That's her third trip she's disappeared on us. She got something to eat. So anyway, let's see as they make the announcements.
So we can't say cameraman no more. It's
camera person.
It has to be camera. I don't think Kelly would get you.
Number 18, Nick Nelson.
Nick Nelson.
Is that what he said, Nick? So the UMD Bulldogs are going to go down and play in the Marijuana Bowl. Huh? I was watching the news the other night, and I thought, are they saying they can't be saying the Marijuana Bowl, the Mineral Water Bowl.
Yeah.
Say it fast. Say it fast.
Mineral Water Bowl.
Yeah, the Marijuana Bowl, see? Well, anyways, just kind of a funny joke. I'm watching this on TV.
It's a Polish knee slapper.
Well, obviously it's not the Marijuana Bowl, but it sure in the heck sounded like it. Bulldogs are going to play in the Marijuana Bowl.
But no, getting back, I mean, Randy Moss, he just looked, I mean, he's making that kind of money. He heard footsteps.
Randy's having a bad season, okay? Here we go. Duluth East is going to take... Man, that was close.
Too bad we didn't have a camera person on the ball to get that.
She's busy eating peanuts. Jeez.
So anyway. So anyway, Kenny.
Kelly, could you do me a favor, please, and hand me my sack? Kelly, right here. No. Yeah.
So getting to the Buccaneers while we're waiting for Kenny to get his sack.
She's afraid to show her.
Tampa Bay went down to St. Louis. I thought that St. Louis would beat the Buccaneers, but I knew the Buccaneers were desperate.
I was shocked.
I wasn't shocked as much as I was hopeful.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
You can't go to a
But
hockey game or...
yeah, I wasn't shocked as much as hopeful, but boy, if they would have lost that game, I would have been right down there with you, Kenny, in the abyss of a wasted season.
Kurt Warner had a bad game.
Well, the whole Rams team just didn't play up to their normal selves at home. But I really, the Vikings, just wrapping up on that, it's a team in disarray. I think the chemistry is shot. I don't see with...
I'm sorry to interrupt. There's a Lasky, Brian Lasky on East's roster.
You might have to get a word with him.
Number 12.
Find out about his lineage.
Oh, he's a 10th grader. Sophomore.
So anyway, Kenny, what else in the world of sports do you want to cover this week?
Minnesota Gophers football team last Saturday. Nice save. Oh, man, Duluth East is putting on the pressure. Big win over the Wisconsin Badgers.
We got the Paul Bunyan axe back.
They have a firm grip on the axe, John. Did you know it's the longest rivalry in major college football? Since 1907, Minnesota leads the overall record with Wisconsin, 58, 45, and 8. 8 ties since 1907. Yeah.
Hey, I see that too in Kenny's notes. Jeff Gordon.
And he scores another goal.
And our camera person is sleeping.
Was that scored by Lasky? I think that was scored by number 12, Brian Lasky.
And we told Kelly, when you see a goal, when something happens, pan over to the action, but now it's too late.
I think Lasky got the goal, the 10th grader.
We need like about 3 or 4 cameras.
So anyway,
Now, why don't we shoot the bench? You're talking about Jeff Gordon? Oh, let's get the score here. Let's get the scoring. Where did you see him? Or what were you talking about?
Oh, I just saw it on your notes. 2001 Winston Cup champion.
Yeah, $6.4 million.
Is that what he gets for being the points champion?
Well, overall, that's what he won, yeah.
Here's your Duluth East
Here we go.
Scoring the goal for the Greyhounds, number 12, Brian Lasky.
Brian Lasky.
He gets an assist on the goal for number 8, Kurt Millers. And number 9, Blaine Gantz.
Wonder if he's related to Lars.
54. That's
Here come the Elk.
254.
So Jeff Gordon, 2001 Winston Cup champion. I like it.
He won 6 races. His 4th Winston Cup championship. 19 different drivers, John, won races this season. It's a Winston Cup Series modern era record. And I was listening to NASCAR Live on WEBC this week, and they had Jeff Gordon on. They're talking to Jeff Gordon. Well, the final race of the season was up. Is that the one in New Hampshire? That was the one that was canceled because of the terrorist attack. So they played it.
When he got bumped.
Yeah, by Robbie Gordon, no relation. Well, they had Jeff Gordon on, and I saw it. And then Jeff Gordon came from behind and gave him a little, like...
retaliatory love tap.
Yeah, very good. And anyways, they had Jeff Gordon on NASCAR Live. We have a caller on the phone. Let's go to the phones. Who do we have? This is Robbie Gordon. Hey, Robbie, welcome to the show. And Jeff's like, Robbie Gordon? Robbie Gordon says, so Jeff, am I still on your Christmas card list? And Jeff says, you never were. You never were on the list. So he handled it pretty well, and they, talked about it. He goes, hey, man, I'm sorry. He goes, I thought you were going to go inside, and I went outside or whatever, and this and that. But Jeff Gordon didn't seem very accepted. He didn't really accept his apology real well. I mean,
I thought you were going to go inside or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
When I saw the replays, it looked like he went bam, bam.
Yeah, and
looked like Robbie knew he was going to go inside after he tapped him.
Right.
You can't BS a BSer is what Jeff's thinking,
That was kind of neat listening to that. I wonder if they set that up, having Robbie Gordon call in like that. But I got a kick out of it.
I'm sure they have a special number to get through in case the driver has anything to say. It's on the circuit.
Real quick recap of this year's NASCAR season, John. Of course, February 18th, we'll never forget the horrible crash at Daytona, at the Daytona 500, taking the life of Dale Earnhardt. And too bad for Michael Waltrip, who won the race of his career. But to really follow that up in some respects, and make something good out of it if you can. The Pepsi 400 held later on at Daytona. Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins that race, and in second place, his good friend and team driver.
Boy, they're getting rough out there.
They are. Michael Waltrip comes in second place, and that race to me was one of the greatest races I've ever seen in the history of NASCAR. I mean, he was down like 6 laps. With 6 laps to go, he was like in 6th or 7th place after a restart, and he came back and won that race. That's the race he was driving the Major League Baseball All-Star Game car. And I'm always going to look back on that race as one that brought a little healing after Dale Earnhardt had died. That race brought a little healing, and he dedicated the victory to his father. So NASCAR is done for the season. We'll have to wait till next February, the start of the season, and the Daytona 500.
It starts to be in February, so it's not really done. It's a couple months.
Right. NASCAR gets started the same time as spring training does, and we're going to have a baseball team this year playing baseball, by golly. Twins will be playing.
Well, the thing is, I told you on the phone, I was reading last week's issue of the Sporting News, and a little TV, they have a little TV section, and they talk about highlights and lowlights of the week's sports events.
Yeah.
But they said that Fox Sports Net North said that ratings for Twins games had gone up 161% from the year before.
The biggest increase of any team. Huh? And they want to take this team out here. Jesse Ventura, and I was real critical of Jesse on our program, and wouldn't you know, the next day Jesse, starts speaking out on this, and he said, why would you take a team that's fiscally responsible and contract them? Right on, Jesse. That was one of the...
teams like...
I heard that. That's a penalty.
Like teams like the Diamondbacks borrow money from baseball.
Wow. That guy is slow in getting up.
He fell on his hip.
No, I think he...
I thought this was flag hockey.
Oh, wait a second here. Don't we have an Elk River lineup here? Flag hockey? What are you talking about? Carl Foss, he's a junior. Number 12, he got nailed.
They don't have an Elk River lineup there?
Yeah, they do. They just got it. I don't know, it's kind of odd here the way they've got it set up. Elk River Hockey, it doesn't say...
Does it give their team name?
I'm sure it's the Elks. Yeah, we'll find out here towards the end of the show. Johnny, real quick, ESPN2 Friday night fights, super middleweights, Richard the Alien Grant and James the Harlem Hammer Butler. Did you see this? I'm watching this thing live Friday night from the this ballroom in Manhattan. This was it was a benefit to help the victims of the September 11th New York City disaster. Okay, I'm watching this fight, and it's a good fight, It's a 10-round fight, and gets to the end of the fight, and they're going to announce the winner, and they announce the winner, and he comes over, and he's about ready to put his arm around this Butler guy and give him a hug. Butler comes in with a nasty fist. Boom! Breaks the guy's jaw. He falls to the floor. He's in rough shape. He's, coughing, a big pool of blood. It was horrible. The announcer, I don't know this guy's name, he's got to be banned from this. Arrest that man. The whole crowd starts cheering, lock him up. Lock him up. It was unbelievable.
So it was after the match, and then he went to hug him?
The match is over. The winner is going to go over and, give the guy a little, hey, man, good fight. As he's reaching over to give him a little hug, this guy comes in and, boom, cranks right onto his jaw. Bare-fisted. The gloves are off. The fight is over.
Oh, really?
Yes. Athletic Commission of New York suspended James Butler indefinitely. He lost. He lost the fight. I watched it. Every single punch he threw was, a windmill, trying to win it on the big punch.
Oh, we got a breakaway!
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You know who that is, don't you? That's your captain, I believe, number 27, Nick Licari. Huh?
On his way to Wisconsin. As he puts his stick up high, celebrating in the 4-1 East lead.
That's right.
At 7:24 left in the second period.
Nick Licari, that was a nice goal. Too bad we didn't have that one on camera. Siv! Well, that sounded loud.
Well, in the microphone, absolutely. So anyway, should we fade to black here and get ready to do some interviews at the end of this game?
A couple of things we got to cover here. We got a little bit of time. Calgary won the Grey Cup. Did you catch that over Winnipeg?
Yeah.
Big news.
Big news.
Elvis Presley, ladies and gentlemen, was inducted into the Gospel Hall of Fame. He is the only entertainer to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Country Music Hall of Fame, and now the Gospel Hall of Fame. We're going to let it roll for a while, Kel. Yeah.
Kenny, I met a guy who was in the same army camp in Germany with Elvis Presley.
Really?
Where
the hell did that come from?
I'm trying to think of
his... warming up a new goalie. Kelly, we almost got hit by a puck. Go get this thing. Jeez.
Well, they heard me yelling, Siv, Siv, Siv. So anyway, Evivold from the auction house. His son is Forrest, and I can't think of...
Colonel.
Yeah, Colonel, Stan. But we should, Kenny, we got to get Stan Evivold on the show to talk about... He met Elvis, and... throw it up here. Let's just see it. Oh, they want it back.
They want it back. It's an official deck hockey puck.
Oh!
Hey, let's hit the camera guy with this one.
Yeah, let's hit the camera guy. So what were they serving up there?
Nothing.
Oh, man.
Nothing? Oh, Perkins, their van must have gotten stuck in the snow. But the little lady has something fixing for you at home.
Johnny, your Minnesota Wild, starting with a late night game at San Jose on Thanksgiving Eve. Manny Fernandez, 22 saves, Wild win 2-0. It was really quite a treat. I listened to the hockey game. It was a Friday matinee after Thanksgiving. The Wild beat the Phoenix Coyotes 5-2. And then a perfect Sunday, huh? Vikings play the night game, and the Wild host the Dallas team. What's that team? What are they called? Dallas.
The Planets?
Something down there. The Dallas
Planets.
Yeah, the Cattlemen or something. I don't know. But they played that Dallas team. Dwayne Rollison, starting goalie, over Manny Fernandez. I was a little shocked at that. I thought maybe Jacques might play Manny, former Dallas Cattlemen teammate, and coming off a big win in San Jose. But Dwayne Rollison got the start.
Give the kid the puck.
Hey, kid.
Kid.
You looking for the puck? Here you go. We got a young fella here. We're going to get him over here and talk to this kid.
You don't get a puck for nothing.
You got to come over here, Kel. Where are you from? Are you? Come here. We're going to just talk to you for a moment, okay? We're going to get this young fella in here.
Do you have cable TV?
Yeah.
What's your name? Tell us what your name is.
Zach?
Zach?
Yeah.
So are you an East fan?
Yeah.
Of course he is. He's got the Condon hat on. He's plays for Squirt A. That's your number 8?
Yeah.
All right. How's your team doing this year? Have you started practicing?
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you guys look?
Good.
What position you play?
Right wing.
Zach?
How many scores are you going to go? How many goals are you going to score?
I don't know.
Dozen.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
You ever watch The Average Guys?
Yeah.
Oh, you have seen
Really? Well, you're on The Average Guys tomorrow night.
Say hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Hi.
We're gonna give Zach the puck. We found the puck. There you go, bud.
And that's Zach.
All right.
Making his first appearance on The Average Guys, and when he's a senior at Duluth East.
All he wanted was a puck.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be on TV.
He didn't want to be on TV. Absolutely. He didn't even say thanks.
Yeah. Manners of 2001.
So the Dallas Cattlemen and the Wild are playing. Jim Bowers opened with a national anthem. I'm like, Jim Bowers, that's the guy that sang all those national anthems at the Met Center. Yeah, that was him. Neil Broughton opened up the start of the game with Let's Play Hockey. It was a good game to watch. Jim Dowd tied the game at 1 in the first period. And I'll tell you, Mike Goldberg, the guy that calls the game for Fox Sports Net, I really enjoy this guy, him and Tom Reed. They talked to Todd Leiweke, the president and COO, and talked about the consecutive sellouts that the Wild have had. He said, we have great fans, all right? And how the franchise retired jersey number 1 to honor the fans, and how consistently it reminds us of what's important.
Fans.
Yeah. Well, the Wild went on to lose the game, unfortunately. It was a good
4-3.
Yeah, it was a good game to watch. They made it close. Unfortunately, they lost to that Dallas team. They rebounded and beat Vancouver the other night. For you Channel 9 viewers, those of you that do not have preferred basic cable, just basic cable, you can watch your Minnesota Wild this coming month of December on Channel 9, Sunday, December 2nd at 6 p.m. against St. Louis. Friday, December 14th, 6:30 at Pittsburgh. Sunday, December 16th, 5 p.m. at Colorado. And then Sunday, December 23rd, 8 o'clock at Colorado. And then Saturday, December 29th, 8 o'clock at Division foe, the Calgary Flames. Yeah, largest crowd ever to watch a hockey game in Minnesota, 19,042. Huh? So that's your Wild report. Kelly's waving at us here.
All I'll say about but all I'll say about the Wild is they're for real, and I don't mean that like Stanley Cup contenders, but they bully.
Organization-wise, they're for real. Personnel.
Organization-wise, and I think team-wise.
Yeah.
They've only gotten blown out once that I can recall, and that was 7-2 against a team I can't think of quick.
Well, they lost to Detroit 8-3 this season.
That's okay, 8-3, and then they lost another game, I believe, 7-2.
This year?
Yeah.
Okay.
I might be mistaken, but averageguys99 at hotmail.com. But the team very seldom gets blown out, always competitive and always capable of beating the top tier teams.
Well, good. We're going to get down and see a Wild game.
You get it set up, brother.
I'm Kenny K. This is Johnny D. That's Kelly Donahue, not paying attention. And we're going to go talk to Mike Randolph. Why do I keep calling him Tom?
What? So as Kelly would wake up, we could sort of get out of here. But Kenny, until the interviews, brother, we'll see you later.
All right. We have the girls East High School hockey team. Who do we have?
I'm Anna Wrestler.
Let's just go through here and real quick.
I'm Marcy Stash.
Jamie Crane.
Lindsay Mochette.
Katie DeBoer.
Linnea Edwardson. Becky Fisher. Liz C.
Ann Gilbertson. Jane Gilbertson.
All right, so you're down here watching the boys trying to get some pointers?
We're going to practice.
So after this game, you're going to practice.
Yeah, that's when the fun starts. We were kicked out by their game.
Yeah, we got kicked off the ice for this game.
We have a game tomorrow, though.
Oh, this is a big game, though.
Yeah, we have a big game.
Oh, well, they're inviting us to the game tomorrow. We won't be able to make that, but maybe in the future we'll be able to do that. So the best high school hockey team in Duluth is?
Us! Of course! The East girls team? Come on! Of course! We won the Turkey Trot tournament!
What's the Turkey Trot tournament?
St. Cloud Invitational, but it's the Turkey Trot. That's what it's called. We've won it for 3 years in a row now.
Yeah.
So you got the hardware.
Champions of a turkey trot.
On your head, actually.
Yeah. I had what? I had a gash on my head. The trophy. I had a big gash on my head. The trophy fell on my head, and
The trophy fell on your head?
They dropped the trophy on my head. She had like this big cut in her scalp, and it's blood all over her face. That's pretty cool. I have a battle wound. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Girls, thank you very much. Have fun and watch The Average Guys. You've heard of The Average Guys, right?
Yeah. Woo!
So what's the coolest show on public access?
The Average Guys!
A for average guys.
Thanks. Duluth East has just defeated the Elk River Elks 4-3. Nick Licari had a goal tonight. Nick, give us a little recap of the game.
Both teams came out flying. They're an excellent team, and we just wanted to come into the game, play the body, use our speed, and we just wanted to see where we're at. It's our first game of the year. It's their second. They're a great team. We ended up 1-1 after the first period. We got a power play goal at the end of the period, and we just had a solid effort as a team. And I think that's the key to success, is you work as a team and you'll win.
We were playing the defending state AA champions. How about the goaltending tonight? I know there was a question. The News Tribune reported that it seems like the team misses your Mr. Haney, who was on the team last year. So goaltending this season, who was in the nets tonight? Aho?
It was Dustin Arrow, actually.
Dustin Arrow.
Yeah, and we do miss Haney a lot. He's a great goalie, and you don't realize how good a player is once he's not here. When you play with him, and it's routine, and then when he's gone, you realize that he's gone. And it's Dustin stepped up huge, and it was a question, but I don't think it is anymore. He played pretty solid. He gave up a 5-on-4, 5-on-3, and a 6-on-5 goal. And it's our breakdown there. We got to stay out of the box, and we got to do our part. And he did an excellent job tonight.
How about Zach Fitzgerald, defenseman that left high school and went to the junior leagues in Canada? Have you talked to him? What do you think of that choice, that decision to do that?
I actually haven't talked to him. I know he's doing very well up there. I personally wouldn't make that choice, but I respect what he did. He felt that he had to do what he had to do, and I'm not going to rag on him. I'm not going to poke fun at him or whatever. It's his choice, and I respect that. And if that's what he wants to do, that's up to him. But some kids choose that, and some kids don't. And I think you benefit from staying here, and you benefit from going to juniors.
Well, let's talk about your choice. You finally made a decision to go to Wisconsin. Are you satisfied with that?
Yep, I'm very satisfied.
All right.
It was a big relief, and I'm very happy that I'm going there.
Nick Licari, senior at Duluth East. Big victory tonight over the defending Class A champion Elk River Elks. Good job, Nick.
Thank you.
All right. High school hockey coach Mike Randolph. Mike, big victory tonight over defending Class A champion Elk River Elks. How'd the team do?
Well, first period were a little ragged, and that's expected in the first game, but I thought we played an excellent second period until we took the penalties. And the third period I thought we sat back a little bit and quit attacking and kind of protecting the lead. But overall, for the first game, we're very happy. Elk River is an excellent team, and we knew we had to play a strong game, and I thought the kids did a pretty good job.
How about goaltending? You lost Dan Haney to graduation. How was the goaltending tonight?
I thought he did a nice job, and I thought they played very well in front of him. We didn't give Elk River a lot. They probably had more chances towards the end in the third period, again, because we're sitting back and not attacking than they had the whole game. But we gave up 2 power play goals, and they pulled their goalie and got one. So 5-on-5, I thought we did a pretty good job.
Well, you're off with a good start, beating, again, defending state champions. What game do you play next?
We go to Hill Murray on Saturday, so it doesn't get any easier. We're going on the road for a couple. We go to Anoka next Tuesday, Hill Murray on Saturday, and then we have Osseo back here in Duluth on Friday night at Saha's Rink, and then White Bear Lake in the afternoon. So we got quite a stretch here.
Mike, it's been quoted in the News Tribune that you compliment Nick Licari as one of the greatest players that you coached at East. Having said that, I think of names like Dave Spihar. What is Dave doing these days after graduation from the main university?
Well, he got a job. I saw him at Stewart's about 3 weeks ago, and I think he's getting training outside of Duluth, and he's going to come back, and he wants to help out coaching, and we'd be very happy to have his expertise on our staff. And right now, he's just kind of quit hockey and just getting on with life. And he was a heck of a player. But Nick Licari is, and I'll say it again, he's one of the most complete players we've had. And in the classroom, off the ice, on the ice, he's a great leader.
Well, you heard it here first. Dave Spihar may be returning to Duluth East hockey. Magical season back when you won the state tournament, when he had the countless hat tricks. Just real quick, recount that and what that meant to you as a coach and watching these kids perform, and especially Dave Spihar.
Well, that was unbelievable. What he did in the state tournament the following year as well. And I mean, I obviously never seen it before, and I'll probably never see it again. Just the way he scored the 3 goals, the penalty shot in the championship game, and everything that happened in that state tournament. And then the quality kids that he had playing alongside of him. He'd be the first one to say that Chris Locker really helped him out, and Dylan Mills and the defensemen. And it was just a great team. And Dave Spihar was the type of player that could get it done in front of the net like no other player we've had. And he had a lot of support there, and he'll be the first one to say that. But I mean, I'll never forget that. It was obviously our first championship, and I watch the tape once in a while.
Johnny, any thoughts for the coach?
Well, Coach, I mean, Duluth East hockey expectations always run high. You got your star players. Who are some of the younger freshmen on the team, sophomores, that the viewers out there should watch with a little more attention, that they'll be coming up in the next year or two?
Well, I thought Kurt Eller's line, people might not realize it, but Kurt Eller's line played a lot tonight. They're a sophomore line, and they're our 4th line. Brian Lasky scored a big goal.
Freshman?
Yeah, no, he's a sophomore. We have no freshmen this year.
Okay, 10th grader, yeah.
It's mostly junior, senior dominated, but some of the 10th graders. I thought Philip Johnson, number 22 back there on defense, did a heck of a job. He's also a sophomore. We have Eric Dahlberg back there, Chris Johnson, another sophomore defenseman. So we have a lot of kids contribute tonight, particularly when you look at Elk River, the defending AA champions, and our first game. I thought they did a heck of a job, and they're going to grow as the season goes on, because with our schedule, they're going to have competition every night.
Mike Randolph, congratulations on the first victory of the season.
I got one quick question, hypothetical. Mike Randolph is about to become a head coach in the NHL. What team in the NHL would you say that emulates your type of coaching, and what team would you want to coach for?
Right now, I'd like to coach for the Detroit Red Wings.
Oh, well, you've got all the future Hall of Famers. I mean, you've got a lineup of Hall of Famers, so why not?
What do you think about the resurgence of hockey in Minnesota with the Wild and what they're doing down there? What do you think of the whole scene?
I'm so happy that the Wild are back down there, and the enthusiasm down there. And we're playing in a Christmas tournament in that building, and I haven't been in that building yet because I didn't want to go in that building before we got in there as a team. And we have a Christmas tournament down there, and we can't wait to get down there, and hopefully we'll get back down there for the state tournament. But I mean, the Wild they play an unbelievable brand of hockey. I thought they've done incredible for an expansion team, and they're going to continue to grow. And I think as they make more money, they might bring in some marquee players.
Well, you got the Montreal connection in there with Rosbrow and Lemire, and where the Canadians let their old management team slip away. These guys come in here and they know what it takes to win, and that's what they're bringing to Minnesota, as a winning brand of hockey.
Exactly, and once they get some, like I said, make some money and get a little more money, maybe they'll bring in some player that can win those 2-2 games and 3-2 games and 4-3 games, the tight games, or a guy they can put out that, like many teams do have in the NHL. I think they got to get that guy, and down the road they will.
All right.
Mike Randolph, congratulations on your first victory tonight and being on the average, guys. Go have a little pep talk with your team, and we'll do this again sometime.
Thanks, I'd love to do it. Love seeing you guys.
And what's your favorite show on public access?
You got the average guys.
There you go.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Well, there you go. Duluth East high school hockey coach, Mike Randolph. Hockey legend. He's got I heard he has a brother named Tom,
Well, I was waiting for you to call him Tom, but, you showed great restraint, Kenny. I'm very proud of you. After you called David Ortiz dug.
So, John, it's no secret we have not been big boosters of East High School hockey. East,
Well, I mean, all in fun.
all in fun. I understand that. And hopefully tonight we've erased any thoughts that were anti-East.
But I still hate the Packers.
So can we say go Greyhounds?
Go Greyhounds.
All right, let's see if we can maybe get another player here. I know Mike Mernicki is this Mike?
Saying hi.
Mike wants us.
Everything worked out okay?
Everything worked out. The press food was great.
Hey, he watches you all the time.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
I found that out. Thanks, Mike.
again.
Mike Mernicki, the athletic guy out at Duluth East.
Wonder any relation to Wayne Krenchecki of the Detroit Tigers?
Mernicki.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Mernicki, Krenchecki. So anyway, Kenny, let's see if we can get another player.
Well, I'm going to go try to get John Gilbert. We'll be right back. We're with sports legend John Gilbert. John, welcome to the Average Guys.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
We just watched East win their first game of the season over defending Class AA champion Elk River. What are your thoughts on how the team played tonight and some of the things they did right and wrong?
Well, considering that Elk River had already played and had beaten Edina 3-1, Edina, I mean, some of the people who rank teams guess wrong and some don't, but some people have Edina ranked as high as number 2 and Elk River beat them 3-1. So based on that fact, I thought that East might start a little slowly, and they struggled a little at the start because they had not played a game except for scrimmages. And once they got their legs, I thought they really took the game over in the second period, and they really blew them out. I thought it was very impressive. Now, Elk River lost a lot from their championship team, and East, the only question was in goal because they've got a lot back. And I think I've got East ranked second to Greenway in the whole state. I think those two northern teams are the best two teams in the state, and I saw nothing in this game that would change my opinion.
How about another team, Greenway of Coleraine? They just picked up quite a player from Two Harbors, Corey Carlson. How does that change that team and the dynamics of the league right now?
Well, it changes Greenway for the better. It changes Two Harbors for the, they'll work like crazy. Each kid will think he's going to get a turn to score now because the guy who scored all the goals is gone. But they did lose a lot. There's seniors left. I hate to see all the wholesale changes that go on. And yet, Corey Carlson's a kid who's a big timer who scored 49 goals last year, led the state in goals, and he went up to join a program where he thought he would get some fame and notoriety and a chance to go to the state tournament, and he certainly found the right one because what he'll do is he'll give the second line incredible life there because they've got a great first line with Gino Geyer and Andy Sertich and Jamie Geyer. So teams will get through with that line and they'll kind of breathe a sigh of relief like they've survived something, and Corey Carlson come out and put the puck in the net. He scored their first goal against White Bear the other night. I went up and saw that game, and Greenway won 2-1. He scores a big goal to get them started. The kid is a great goal scorer and a very electrifying player who was playing all the time and playing to exhaustion because he was out on the ice so much with Two Harbors. Now it'll be interesting to watch him with regular shifts because he can only be better.
I meant to ask Coach Randolph, and I'll ask you this question. Dave Spihar played here at East, had a very colorful 4 years that he was here, went to the University of Minnesota. When he came back here to play when they played the Bulldogs, he wasn't treated too nice. There were some things that I felt were way out of line. Why do you think that was? I mean, I know he didn't play here and he went to Minnesota, but why do you think that was, and how unfair was that?
I don't know if it was unfair. It got a little nasty, but the fans, that's the trend in college now, is to get a little nasty. I mean, if you can't yell something rude, you won't yell something at all. So it's the one thing about Dave Spihar is he wanted to go to the Gophers since he was like in the 8th grade, and everyone knew that. He made no secret of that fact. And so, it's kind of like he's turning his back on the city here. I don't know how hard they even recruited him, but the fact is, it's like he went away. Now he's a rebel coming back to attack us. And the unfortunate thing is, he's the greatest goal scorer in the history of state high school hockey. And I think that his life was a little screwed up down at Minnesota because he played a certain way, and if they didn't like the way he played, it's too bad that he went there. You know what I mean? And they didn't like the way he played, and he didn't get the kind of a centerman who had to feed him the puck. And he could have been an All-American, a great scorer, and gone on, but it turns out maybe he didn't go to the right place.
Huh. Interesting. So, John Gilbert, what brought you to Duluth? You're down in the cities. You had a distinguished career. What brought you to Duluth?
Well, actually, you know, I really loved it. I was at the start at the Minneapolis Tribune for a lot of years. Then when they merged with the Star and became the Star Tribune, the two papers owned by the same company, I wouldn't have traded jobs with anybody because I was doing an auto column covering auto racing and covering hockey, and that was my job. I mean, I was happy all day. I was covering pro hockey, college hockey, everything. And things change. They change when they merge the papers. You have different management, different people in charge, and a little foul thing happened where I found out some information about some NCAA violations that the University of Minnesota hockey program had, and I went in and reported them. And a new supervisor I had, who was a good guy and a young guy, got kind of worried about the controversy, wouldn't let me write it. I said, I'll wait till season's over, but I got to write it, and I got the stuff proven on tape. And about the coach giving the player some money under the desk, I got that 10 months before it was a story, and they would not allow me to write it. Oh. When I fought them through the newspaper guild, he went to a rookie managing editor who just believed him without ever. I'd been there 28 years at that time. They didn't ever ask me what happened. My supervisor knew, trying to cover his tail. One thing led to another. I won I was exonerated, and yet they wouldn't allow me to write anything about that story. I was covering women's volleyball, so I won the battle, but I lost the war because they could schedule me to do anything they wanted. And so right at that time, my 30th year was coming up. My pension was going to be full, and I got this real interesting offer from Murphy McGinnis Media, which is now, it was at that time 9 papers in the vicinity. Now it's up to 17. It's a real dynamic young operation. It's just it's a work in progress that keeps getting more and more fun by the time.
I hear you, brother. I hear you.
It's really a fun deal. Up on the range in Cloquet and on the North Shore and down into Wisconsin Superior, you know, and it's a really fun operation that the potential is unlimited. I think that they didn't think there's any chance they'd come back. I'm from here originally. I love it here. I came back every time I had a chance. My mom's in a nursing home here. My sister lives up here. I always came back up here, but when they made me the offer, it was right at the time I was having this major battle down there, and I was outraged that I was having a battle because all I had ever done was work hard there and get good stories. And so at that time, the McClatchy Company bought out the Star Tribune, and there was a clause that said you get a buyout, so I held them off here at Murphy McGinnis. The clause came through, and I got a buyout and a full pension and changed jobs.
Well, that's great. We're just about out of time. I have to ask this question. Zach Fitzgerald, a freshman at Duluth East, left school to go to the Western Canada Junior League. Last I heard, he was with Seattle. So he loses 3 years of high school and is ineligible for ever playing college hockey. Bad move?
Well, it depends on what you want to do. If you want to just be a pro hockey player, you probably should go play Canadian Junior and forget high school and college hockey. I think there's lots of life besides hockey, as much as I love hockey. And, you have to go on. And high school hockey is a wonderful place to play. College hockey is a fantastic thing to do. You still can go to the pros. Look at all the pros that have made it out of college. So you get the best of both worlds if you stay in school. But he got some guidance from a fellow who's a pro agent who can only make some profit if he gets him turned pro quickly. So I know you're saying that's wrong. Brian Lawton was the agent. Brian Lawton never went to college. He finished high school and he signed a pro contract.
Yeah.
He was
the worst draft pick in North Star history.
That's an interesting observation, and you made it. I didn't, but you're probably pretty accurate. And at any rate, he has never seen the value of education, so he wouldn't advise the kid that it's important to stay toward an education. And Rusty Fitzgerald went pro, and so the kid had stars in his eyes, and I think that's what led him that way. If it was a stray, I hope he makes it. I hope to see kids from here make it. I would rather have seen him stay in high school and become a star here. I mean, he wasn't really a star in high school at the time he left here. He had still to develop to be a solid high school player. He could have been a great one.
We're out of time. John Gilbert, Murphy McGinnis Newspaper.
John, can we get you on the show for an hour? Just sit around and talk sports.
Sure, anytime.
Okay, I'll be in touch with you then.
John, thanks so much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
And we hope you enjoyed this special edition of The Average Guys from the Deck, where we covered some East hockey. And until next week, it's cool to be average, and we'll see you later.